Software represents the set of programs that govern the operation of a computer system and make the hardware run. Well, in general, these softwares are the set of programs. Fine. We can simply define this term software with this term set of programs. Fine. With the help of these programs or with the help of these set of programs, we can control the overall functioning of our computer system. Fine. It means these softwares will define our computer what to do, how to do, when to do, and how it has to display the result, how it will take the input, and how it will do the processing. Fine. It means the software is generally working as the main logical and functioning part of our computer system. Well, now on the basis of operation and functionality, our softwares are divided into two categories. These two categories are system software and application software. Now we have to discuss this classification with the help of an image. Well, here we can see that these softwares are the set of programs that govern the operations of our computer. These softwares are divided into two categories, that is application software and system software. First we have to discuss about this term system software. System softwares are the softwares that control the internal computer operations. It means these softwares will manage everything inside the computer and they will help a user to work with a proper computer's working environment. Well, our system software is divided into four categories. These four categories are operating system, language processor, device drivers, and utility programs. Well, we are starting with this first term, that is operating system. This operating system is the first software which loads in our computer's memory when we start it. Well, it works as an interface between the user and hardware. Then next we have language processor. Generally, whatever we type in our computer, whatever we write in our computer, that data is in high level language form. It means the text that you are able to see in your display, the messages that you are typing in your chat boxes, everything that we type is in high level language. It means it is in alphabetical form. Well, these alphanumeric values are not understandable by the computer. So make them computer understandable, our computer first convert these alphanumeric values to the binary form. And for that conversion, it uses these language processors. Then next we have device driver. Well, generally whenever we plug in any hardware component in our computer system, our computer doesn't know what it has to do with that particular hardware. Now, to maintain the proper functioning of that hardware system, it uses a special kind of software which is termed as device driver. Well, this device driver is different for every hardware component. Well, this device driver helps our hardware components to interact with the machine, to interact with the operating system, and it helps the user to use that particular hardware device. Then next we have, or at last we have, utilities. Well, these utilities are also termed as utility softwares or utility programs. These utilities are some special kind of software, system softwares, which are used to maintain the smooth functioning of our computer system. Well, it generally helps us to manage the proper functioning of our devices, softwares, files. Some most commonly used utility programs are compression softwares, virus removal programs, system firewalls, and some others. Well, all the application lockers that we use, all the app lockers or file hiding programs that we use, all these programs are also an example of utility programs. Now we have to discuss about this term application software. Well, our application softwares are the softwares which are generally used by the users for their requirements. Well, let's take an example. Suppose you want to type something, or you want to play a game, or you want to work with any application in your computer. Well, all the applications that we use for working in our computer system, these applications are termed as application softwares. These application softwares can be categorized into two categories. These are packages and customized softwares. In these packages, we have general purpose softwares and special purpose softwares. Whereas in the second one we have is customized softwares. These customized softwares has the functioning or facilities so that users can customize these softwares as per their requirement. Well, the most common example of customized software is games. Because in all the games that we play, we have some options like we can manage the system audio, we can manage the graphic quality, we can even manage the controls of all the games. It means all the games that we are playing or that we are using, these games are a type of customized software. Now we have to discuss about their classification in detail. Well, so till now we have discussed about the softwares, system softwares and all these 4 categories, application software and its 3 categories. Now we have to discuss about system software in detail. So now let's begin. Well, here I am using a screenshot of the book. Now let's read and then understand. Well, a computer is merely a machine that knows nothing of itself. Well, rather it requires instructions for each and every thing that it performs. These instructions are provided it through softwares. Fine. So from these few lines it is very clear that our computers that we are using, these computers are just a piece of hardware and they cannot do anything by their own. It means for every kind of operation, whether it is a editing of a file, deletion of any particular thing in our computer, for changing the wallpaper, for setting the time, for everything it needs some instructions. Now, the softwares that control internal computer operations like reading data from input devices, transmitting processed information to the output devices, checking system components, converting data or instructions to the computer understandable form, all these softwares are combinedly termed as system softwares. It means all the softwares which can help our computer to perform various internal operations are termed as system softwares. Fine, these system softwares can generally help our computer to manage the input-output devices, and it also helps it to convert the high-level data into the low-level form. Now, in short, we can say that system software refers to the program that control the internal computer operations and make best use of the hardware. Now let's discuss about the classification of the system software. Well, our system software is classified into 4 categories, that is operating system, language processor, utility programs, and then we have device drivers. Well, in this class we have to discuss about these 2 system softwares. Now let's see. Our first system software is operating system. Well, there's a homework for you all. You have to comment down at least one example of GUI and CUI based operating system. Now let's begin. Well, an operating system is an interface between user and the hardware. Well, generally when we operate our computer, for working with our computer system, we have to use this operating system as an interface. This interface generally provides you some icons, some buttons, some tools through which you can work with any application in your computer system. Well, not only it manages the display content, but it also manages all the hardware which is connected to our computer. So in short, we can say that it helps a user to operate a computer and it lets him to use all the software. Now, on the basis of appearance or application, these operating systems have 2 categories. These 2 categories are graphical user interface and character user interface. Well, these graphical user interface have some icons, tools, menus and physical components that we can use to perform various operations. Whereas in the character user interface, we have to use some codes and commands for working with our computer system. Now we have to discuss about the functions of a operating system. Well, in general, our operating system can perform various functions, but we have to discuss about these few functions which are given over here. Our first function is file management. So generally, whenever we create any file in our computer, it is the basic task of our operating system to store that file in the computer's RAM for the moment till which we are using it. And when we save that file, our operating system generally pushes that file into the computer's memory. So it means it is managing every file or application that you are using. Then next we have memory management. Well, generally in our computers we have limited storage. Well, so it means it's very important for our computer to clean data regularly. So for that it has this function of memory management. Well, through this memory management, it not only cleans the data, but it also helps the storage devices to store data systematically. Next we have device management. Whenever we plug in any hardware component in our computer, it manages the functionality of every hardware component on the basis of instructions which are given by the device drivers. Next we have operation or instruction management. Well, whatever operation we give or instruction that our computer receives, these instructions or operations are processed and managed by the operating system only. Next we have user management. In this operating system, we have a feature through which we can create multiple users. With the help of this, we can easily create various users who can use these applications at multiple instances. Then at last we have error management. Well, it also manages all the errors and their types which we can receive or that we can get whenever we are working with any application. Well, it doesn't only look for the errors, but it also tries its best to remove all the technical issues by itself. For this error management, our computer has some inbuilt programs and features like system recovery, data backup, and some other tools. So these tools are used and operated by the operating system whenever it finds any error or any glitch in the functionality of the computer. Now we have to discuss about this term language processor. Well, you can easily understand this term with the help of an example. Well, let's suppose you are talking to a person who cannot understand Hindi or English. Well, for talking with that person, you have to use his language. Let's take an example. Suppose that you are talking to a person who can only speak in French or let's say German. So, for talking to that person, either you have to use that language or you must need somebody who will transfer or who will translate your language to that user's language. Well, the programs that we use for this translation process are termed as the translators. And here the programs that we have written, the codes that we have written, these codes are termed as source codes, and after conversion these codes are turned into object code. Well, now let's read and then understand again. As programmers prefer to write their programs in high-level languages because it is much easier to code in such language. However, the computer does not understand any language other than its own machine language or binary language. Therefore, it becomes necessary process for the high-level language program to make it understandable to the computer. And here these language processes are used. So it means whatever we type in our computer or we write in our computer, that every data is in the form of high-level language codes. And these high-level language codes are also termed as source codes. These codes are human readable, but these codes cannot be understood by the machine. So to make them machine understandable, these codes are converted into low-level languages by using some translation programs. And these translation programs are termed as language processors. Well, in general, we have three language processors which are used. These three language processors are assembler, interpreter, and compiler. Well, for converting the assembly language into the machine language, assembler is used. Then next we have interpreter and compiler. This interpreter and compiler these two are generally used to convert high-level languages to the low-level languages. Well, you guys have a homework for now. Today you have to write at least 3 differences between interpreter and compiler by your own. Well, first we have to discuss about this term interpreter. This interpreter converts the high-level language program into machine code or into machine language by converting or executing it line by line. Hence, if there is any error in any line, it reports that error at the same time and the program execution cannot resume until the error is rectified. So it means this interpreter is reading or accessing our codes line by line. It is checking for the errors line by line, and for every error it is halting the process of execution. Next we have compiler. Well, our compiler is similar to the interpreter. It means it is also used for converting the high level codes to the machine codes. But in our compiler, it works on a different conversion pattern. This compiler generally reads our whole code at once. It means first it will read the whole program in one go, and then it will look for all the errors, and all the errors will be given to the user at the end of the compilation. So it was all about interpreter and compiler. Well, nowadays the programming languages that we are using, let's talk about Java or Python. In these languages, we have these two, interpreter and compiler both. So it gives the best combination of high level to the object code, which can help you to easily compile your program as well as easily detect all the errors in your code.